Hey guys, how's it going out there? Absolutely a beautiful day here. Not too humid and not too hot. Well, it's a little bit on the hot side, but humidity's low. You know, as I was working out today, I was thinking of something. I was thinking now how we have it so much easier than our forefathers did back, let's say, 100, 150 years ago. You ever think about that? Let's go back 100, maybe 150 years ago. Let's think about the luxuries we have today they didn't have back then. To start off, what about air conditioning? Yeah, air conditions. Unheard of back then. These poor people had to endure the heat. And most of them, if they didn't work out on the farm or work outside, they worked in buildings that was like ovens. Today, most people have air conditioning. I do. But when I was a kid, I didn't have air conditioning. As an adult that I am now, yes, you bet your butt I have air conditioning. But could we have handled that back then? Here's another thought. Cell phones. Yeah, most people have a cell phone nowadays. Back then, if you wanted to get a message to somebody, you had to go through snail mail. And you'd be lucky if it reached them within about 3 months or 3 weeks to a month. I'm serious. And back then you just couldn't pick up a phone and say, hey, or text message. All that stuff was unheard of back then. Today, a cell phone's almost as a must. You know, you keep in touch with your family members, you keep in touch with your work. Shoot, most people like me, that's how I figure out the weather. I used to go to my laptop, get the weather, but not no more. I get it from my cell phone, it's more accurate. Yeah. Transportation. Today, most of us have vehicles. Back then, they had horses and buggies, guys. To go 35 to 40 miles, it would take them a whole day to make that trip. Today, we can make that trip, what, in 35, 40 minutes, depending on who's driving. Think about it. Back then, oh no. And believe me, I'm sure it was hard on your butt, too. I'm one of these people that will go up to a historical home and sit there and wonder, what was life like back when this thing was built? What was the people like? What was life back then? I truly believe I was born in the wrong century. I truly believe this. But could I handle living back then? The way conditions were? Here's another thing. Illnesses. Things you might get sick with could kill you back then. Oh yeah. If you accidentally stepped on a rusty piece of metal, you can die from that. Today we have medicines. We have cures for things. Well, not everything. But today we have medicines like, I'm having a brain fart. Today you step on a rusty nail or something, you get a tetanus shot. We have antibiotics for infections. They didn't have none of that stuff back then. Oh no. Life was hell back then, guys. I'm telling you, but people lived it. People endured it. People were better back then. People helped their neighbors. People cared about one another. They knew what life was like. They had hard times. And all this stuff reminds me of something. Something I never really thought of until today. By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, I got a little cut there from shaving. Yeah. I shaved after, I worked out earlier. Got myself a shower and I decided to shave and I cut myself shaving. I didn't realize that I went to get a drink of water. My wife said something. But you know, dang near all my life, until recently I took my father for granted. Let me explain. I never actually stood back and wondered what kind of man he was. My father lived through the Depression era, you know. He had to live on possums and raccoons and other rodents. Him and his family did. They didn't have shoes back in the Depression time. He used to tell me stories. This is where I get my love for historical things, is from my father. Dad was born in 1922. He's not with us anymore, sad to say. But he was quite a man. He didn't have cell phones. Didn't have the electronics we had today. Didn't know what a computer was. He didn't know what a cell phone was. I mean, when he passed away, none of that stuff was out. He never had an air conditioner, never lived in an air conditioner. Guys, I didn't really start having air conditioning until after I married Angie. And that was many, many, many years later. My father, the only time he was in an air-conditioned building is if he visit one of my sisters or in the hospital. Life was rough. He endured it though. He was quite a man. Guys, I want to ask you something. Leave me comments, okay? One thing I'm asking you. If you was zapped out of this century and put back 150 years ago, could you live it? Could you endure the harsh reality? Could you do it? Think about it. I believe I could, but I would have to get used to it. I couldn't get myself used to living without air conditioning. It'd be hell. I definitely can get used to living without a cell phone. I can get used to living without computers. I could basically handle riding on horse and buggy. It hurt my butt, but I think I could do it. Gotta learn how to ride a horse again though. Just saying. The only thing I think we would have problems with, my friends, is back then, if you got an illness, you got sick, it was harsh. You can die from it. Alright guys, just some thought there. Food for thought, thought for food, whatever you want to call it. Until tomorrow, come on, let's get out of here. And thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.